transform your life in 15 minutes. This is where we're doing 5-minute exercises, one each for the mind, the body, and the soul. Hi, my name is McAdams, and I am an accounting professor. I'm also a certified coach specializing in personal, small business finance, and also fitness. I help people reach their goals in those areas. I want to take the time to thank you for coming on to this challenge, for those of you that are live, and also for those of you that are watching the recording. Now, for the mind, we are reading the book, which is Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And then for the body portion, we're doing the Yoga Sun Salutations. And last but not least, for the soul, we're doing a 5-minute meditation where we're focusing on our breath by doing Ujjayi breathing. Okay, so the book is getting really, really good. I'm enjoying the conversations I'm having offline with you guys. I would really appreciate it online, but you know what? It's a conversation nonetheless. But again, if you would like to comment below, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Either do it in the comments, or if you're not comfortable for whatever reason, then obviously you can always reach out to me offline as well. So the book is getting really, really interesting. For those of you that are just joining us, let me just kind of catch you up to where we are. Now, we're actually on chapter 4, but there's a lot of stuff going on in this book. And by the way, I just want to explain that the reason why how I was attracted to this book, I did a whole video on it, but just briefly, I was attracted to this book because I have clients that, would not reach their goals, whether it be a physical goal or a financial goal or just a regular personal goal. I had a lot of clients that wouldn't reach the goals, even though they were set up on, let's say, a plan to succeed. For some reason, they wouldn't succeed, or if they did succeed, they weren't happy. And I just, over the years, I've been doing this for a long time. Over the years, it was weighing on me. I was like, I just didn't understand it. Like, let's hypothetically say that we have two people that are totally identical. I mean, it never happens, but let's just say two people that are totally identical, and they have the same goal and they're on the same plan. Well, one person will reach the goal and they would be happy and go on to be successful, where the other person would reach the goal and they would look at themselves and they wouldn't feel as successful. So that's, typically what I'm referring to. So I was like, something has to be going on, something that's missing. And the missing component I found in this book. This is what attracted me to this book. And by the way, it's not just for other people, for myself included. I look at over my life over the years and the successes that I've had and also the goals I've obtained and reached. And then I looked at, when I was happy, when I wasn't. And again, this book was telling me the underlying reason. And I know you're anxious to hear what it is, but I'm not going to tell you right yet. First, I want to talk about cybernetics and what it is, because if you're just now tuning in, you're going to be like, okay, I kind of get it, but not really. So I want to explain to you what cybernetics is, and particularly psycho-cybernetics. I'm going to use an analogy. So I want you to think in terms of, hi, Patricia, I'm glad you made it. I want you to think in terms of a thermostat. So in your house, you have a thermostat. Let's say that you set it to 72 degrees. So throughout the day, as your temperature varies in your house, so it may get colder, it may get warmer than 72 degrees, but your thermostat will kick on and the temperature will go back to the 72 degrees of what you set it at. That's the premise of what psycho-cybernetics is. It's saying that inside of us, we have a guidance system. And based upon what is set, no matter if we reach our goals or don't reach our goals, it's going to set it back to that 72 degrees. Well, in our case, that 72 degrees is our self-image. The self-image is what we imprinted upon us throughout our childhood, throughout our lives. Even to this day, you're constantly imprinting things on your self-image. And by the way, if you don't have a self-image of being successful or a skinny person or a healthy person or a financially free or debt-free person, if you don't have that mental image in your mind, then it's going to be that much more difficult to reach your goal. And if you do reach your goal, you're not going to be satisfied with it. So I've talked about different examples of like people who win the lottery and all of a sudden squander it or lose it within, a short period of time. So there's been all kinds of examples. And so to me, that explains what's going on, because it's all internally, and more specifically, it's in our subconscious mind. So it's something that we're not even aware of. So right now we're on chapter 4. And chapter 4 is entitled Dehypnotize Yourself from False Beliefs. Now, I don't want you to get all crazy, like for some people, oh, it's about hypnotism. No, it's not really talking about, let's say, hypnotizing per se. Like, in other words, in order to help your self-image, in other words, I should say, we can change our self-image. We also learned that in the book, and we do that with our imagination. So now they're using hypnotist or hypnotist suggestion as an example of what you can do. Because believe it or not, whether you believe in hypnosis or not, you are being hypnotized. Likewise, what I mean is, for instance, when you're watching TV, all your environment, your friends, your families, they're telling you stuff and they're putting these suggestions into your mind, and you're doing it yourself. I mean, think about as you go throughout the day. I want you, like today, think about this. As you go throughout your day and you're doing different activities or you're encountering different scenarios or situations, listen to how you're talking to yourself. Like something may come up and you say, oh, no, I can't do that. Like automatically, it's not something that you even like conscious, like it's that quick, it's in an instance, you know, I can't do that, or no, that's not possible. And even, for instance, it may be something that you consciously say, or like I said, something just that quick was your subconscious coming up to the conscious level. I'm talking to different people and they're constantly putting themselves down saying, well, I'm not creative, or I have a bad memory, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. Those things are being imprinted on your brain. So that's what we're talking about, is being being hypnotized by those false beliefs, because those beliefs are false. I mean, what is a belief? It's a thought that you think over and over again, and it's your truth. So that's where we are in this book. We're learning how to pre-program our self-image so that we can now achieve our goals. Okay, so we're in chapter 4, and I'm skipping around because in here is talking about, you know, different things of false belief, of how, you know, the salesman was hypnotized. It talked about a false belief that aged a man for 20 years. And before we get started, I kind of want to tell you a personal story for me. I've always had a youthful appearance, and that works to my advantage now, but when I was younger, I always had a youthful appearance. And so I was always put into a position, let's say I was, you know, in a meeting with, you know, a bunch of executives, and I would just kind of look around the room and everyone would look so successful and so authoritative and just had a powerful appearance. And by me, I always thought I looked like a little girl because I had a youthful appearance. I remember being 25 years old one time, and I was in the airplane, and the stewardess came up to me and said, you know, I was sitting in an emergency exit, and the stewardess came to me and said, ma'am, I don't think you're old enough to sit in this row. And I looked at her, I said, ma'am, I'm 25 years old. She said, oh, I'm so sorry, you look so young. At the time, that wasn't a compliment to me because I was still going through that. Like, it was imprinted in my brain that I looked like this little small person. So even though I'm in a meeting with all these executives, right, and obviously I'm supposed to be there, but when it's my time to talk, I felt like small and timid because I had a youthful appearance. And while everyone else had this like authoritative presence, and I felt like I was just like small. And then it didn't help that when it was my time to talk, people were like looking at me and they're smiling because obviously I had something to say and I was supposed to be there. But then I felt, when you're going through that internally, it comes out like, well, maybe you should do, and then you have to, So anyway, I'm saying that to say that, believe it or not, what you say to yourself, the things that you say, the things that you think, the things that people say does make an important difference in your life. So you got to be careful of that. Okay, so let's go on to that's not what I'm reading. Is everyone hypnotized? So regardless if you believe it or not, just open up your mind to what it's saying. Because again, what's the definition of insanity? Doing things the same thing, expecting a different result? Open up your mind to something different. All right, so is everyone hypnotized? It is no exaggeration to say that every human being is hypnotized to some extent, either by ideas he has uncritically accepted from others, or ideas he has repeated to himself or convinced himself are true. These negative ideas have exactly the same effect on our behavior as the negative ideas implanted in the mind of a hypnotized subject by a professional hypnotist. Have you ever been or have you ever seen a demonstration of honest-to-goodness hypnosis? If not, let me describe to you just a few of the more simple phenomena that result from the hypnotist's suggestion. The hypnotist tells a football player that his hand is stuck to the table and that he cannot lift it. It is not a question of the football player not trying, he simply cannot. He strains and struggles until the muscles of his arm and shoulders stand out like cords, but his hand remains fully rooted to the table. He tells a championship weightlifter that he cannot lift a pencil from the desk, and although normally he can hoist a 400-pound weight overhead, he now actually cannot lift the pencil. Strangely enough, in the above instances, hypnosis does not weaken the athletes. They are potentially as strong as ever, but without realizing it consciously, they are working against themselves. On the other hand, they try to lift their hand or the pencil by voluntary effort and actually contract the proper lifting muscles. But on the other hand, the idea you cannot do it causes contrary muscles to contract quite apart from their will. The negative idea causes them to defeat themselves. They cannot express or bring into play their actual available strength. The gripping strength of the third athlete has been tested on a diameter and has been found to be 100 pounds. All his efforts and straining cannot budge the needle beyond the 100-pound mark. Now he is hypnotized and told, you are very, very strong. Stronger than you have ever been in your life. Much, much stronger. You are surprised at how strong you are. Again, the gripping strength of his hand is tested. This time he easily pulls the needle to the 125-pound mark. Again, strangely enough, hypnosis has not added anything to his actual strength. What the hypnotic suggestion did was to overcome a negative idea that had previously prevented him from expressing his full strength. In other words, the athlete in his normal waking state had imposed a limitation on his strength by the negative belief that he could only grip 100 pounds. The hypnotist merely removed this mental block and allowed him to express his true strength. The hypnotist literally dehypnotized him temporarily from his own self-limiting belief about himself. As Dr. Barber said, it is awfully easy to assume that the hypnotist himself might have some magical power that you see rather than miraculously things having happened during the hypnotic session. The stutterer talks fluently. The timid, shy, retiring Casper Milquetoast becomes outgoing, poised, and makes a stirring speech. Another individual who is not especially good in adding figures with a pencil and paper multiplies 2 3-digit figures in his head. Apparently all this happens merely because the hypnotist tells them that they can and instructs them to go ahead and do it. To onlookers, the hypnotist's word has a magical power. Such, however, is not the case. The power, the basic ability to do these things, was inherent in the subject all the time, even before they met the hypnotist. The subjects, however, were unable to use this power because they themselves did not know it was there. They had bottled it up and choked it off because of their own negative beliefs. Without realizing it, they had hypnotized themselves into believing they could not do these things. And it would be truer to say that the hypnotist had dehypnotized them rather than say that they hypnotized them. Within you, whoever you may be, regardless of how big of a failure you may think yourself to be, is the ability and the power to do whatever you need to do to be happy and successful. Within you right now is the power to do things you never dreamed possible. This power becomes available to you just as soon as you can change your beliefs, just as quickly as you can dehypnotize yourself from the ideas of I can't, I am not worthy, I don't deserve it, and other self-limiting ideas. There you have it. So again, this goes to show you, if you've been following along in the reading, or with me with the reading, one of the main points that it says is that we were engineered for success. Okay, so God programmed us for success. The only thing that's stopping us is ourselves, is our limiting beliefs. So that just kind of proves it for you. So hopefully that will put a new perspective on what you say to yourselves and also what you're allowing yourself to be surrounded by. Okay, so for instance, as we're walking through my hall of positivity, if you notice, I have a lot of positive quotes on here. Let me just see one. Right here, it says, I don't know if it's backwards, but it says, what you visualize, you materialize. It says, when you have inspired thought, you have to trust and act upon it. Out of no way a way will be made. So there's a whole bunch of quotes on either side, both sides of my walls. This is a wall of positivity. I make it a point to surround myself around positive, not just things, environment, people, even to the fact that I don't really watch TV. Like people get, every time I tell people I don't watch TV, particularly they say, well, how do you know what's going on in the news? I was like, trust me, if it's something I need to know, I will know. Okay, so now we're moving on to the yoga portion of the exercise, and then we're going to immediately follow with the meditation. Now again, don't just watch me. This is not just my transformation, because I have my stories too. This is a transformation for you. So take the time to do the exercises. The premise of all this is, I hear all the time people saying, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to do this or that and the other. So I'm saying that you can actually just transform your life in just 15 minutes. Just 5 minutes of working on your mind, your body, and your soul. Most people just work on their body, like they physically see their body, they look in the mirror, and they may not be happy with what's staring back at them, so they go and work on just that. But I want you to know that you are actually made up of 3 parts, the mind, the body, and the soul. So it's very important for you to work out all 3 of these. And it only takes 5 minutes, because guess what? 5 minutes will turn into 10 minutes, will turn into 15 minutes over time. Okay, so just 5 minutes. Let's do some yoga. Oh gosh, guess what I did again? You won't believe it. You will believe if you've been watching me. Yes, I forgot my cell phone. Oh gosh, that's okay. It's another opportunity for me to walk down my hall of positivity again and talk to you a little more. If you're just joining me, hi, thank you. Welcome to the Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. As soon as I grab my cell phone, we're going to start the yoga. By the way, guys, I'm going to do a giveaway. From this, I got to talk about it tomorrow, but I'm going to do a giveaway with me forgetting my cell phone. So keep that in mind. Hopefully I'll remember. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Okay, I'm going to cut my hand off. Namaste. We're moving on to the final exercise. This is a 5-minute meditation. So go ahead and get into a nice comfortable position. And we're going to do some ujjayi breathing. This is full diaphragmatic breathing where the diaphragm goes up. And as you inhale, your stomach protrudes out, your chest rises. And as you exhale, it falls back to the original location. We're going to be breathing, inhaling on the count of 1, exhaling on the count of 2. release, relax, and return fresh and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. Well, that concludes day 14 of the Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your 24 hours just to do something good for yourself in 15 minutes. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.